Here we go. Hi, folks. My name is Pete Lewis. This is Claire Church. We're owners of the Muse Performance Space in Lafayette, Colorado. And during this lockdown, we've been inviting some of our friends to come in and have conversations with us. And today we have one of our great buddies, Drew Morell, bass player, piano player, guitar player,
Probably
singer.
sings. Plays accordion, I think, right? Didn't you play accordion one time with me?
Yeah, I think we did something where I actually, yes.
Oscar. So, Drew, you doing well?
Yeah, things are going well. Just kind of overwhelmed by the schedule of teaching full time and having our 5.5-year-old son Oscar home full time. That's my biggest battle right now. But how about you guys? How are things going?
I'd say pretty well. Personally, getting more practicing in some writing, bike riding, things like that. So it's been nice. Claire?
We've been busy
Yeah.
because we're doing all these different, like starting up a live stream series. We're doing this interview thing. Pete's been doing the play along tracks. We did a big BVSD acapella type thing with the whole district that I played drums for just because I just said it first that I wanted to play drums before the other drummers. And
Yeah.
so we're practicing and I have a new horse, so we're like pretty busy.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt filling time. I see on Facebook and other other social media things, people, especially at the about a weekend, people were like, "Oh my God, I'm so bored." Or any suggestions on what to binge watch? And those two statements immediately make me know that that's not a musician,
Yeah.
Exactly.
parent, or a parent musician. Because
Right.
I mean, if you're maybe if you're a parent of a teenager who doesn't want you around anymore anyway, then you know it, then you're not bored, or then you're bored.
Yeah,
But
yeah, and I forgot to include I'm also still teaching with Boulder Valley um
yeah.
remotely and CU remotely. So, yeah,
Oh, right,
I'm
right.
not bored either.
So Drew,
Oh,
tell the listeners what do you teach? Where do you teach?
well, I teach. I'm full-time faculty. I've been full-time for 18 years at CU Denver. I teach applied lessons on guitar, piano, and bass there. And then I do the high-level theory classes, the an ensemble, which has been a real challenge to come up with ideas for teaching that remotely. And luckily, I didn't have to do ear training classes this semester because I know that could kind of be a little sort of a nightmare too to do that. But yeah, and then I have my own private studio where I normally teach about 14 students a week on top of my UCD teaching. But as soon as the shutdown happened, I just emailed those people and said, I'll see you guys at the end of May. And because I knew there wouldn't be any time, even to try to do Zoom lessons, there just hasn't been any time.
That is a lot of teaching, and especially given that you're a bass player. I mean, I think you get most of your gigs on bass, right? Or
Right, right. I would say that's the lion's share. Probably 65 or 70% bass. Um, the rest is piano and a couple of guitar gigs here and there. Banjo job in the summer. There's always one summer banjo job. I
oh
just,
man, I didn't know about the banjo.
yeah,
We got to do a gig together. Well, we all just play all of our stuff.
yes, that would be an awesome
It'd be
idea.
so fun.
So are you finding that most of your time is taken up by preparing so you can upload, to the students rather than this, the one-on-one, you just have it all in your head, and here you have to like prepare everything, then upload it or whatever. Is that
Oh,
that's taking the most time?
unequivocally. It's amazing. This shift over to the online paradigm has just been ridiculous. Things that, like a lecture, here's a great example, a lecture on reharmonization that I do every year. It's super fun, super easy. I'm writing these things down on the chalkboard as I talk. Then I play them on the piano. Then I have them open to a page in the real book and they look at some section and I reharmonize it and they hear it in real time, suddenly I realized, oh, I can't do that because all of that, even with Zoom and having my piano right here, there's just no way to make all of those elements come in there. The whiteboard doesn't work so well. So I had to, part of that I had to pre-record um, the as sort of like a little, almost like a little PowerPoint thing. And then I would play bits of that and then I would go over to the piano and play here, but they couldn't hear that well. And they wanted to see my hands. So I tried to put the computer looking down and then I couldn't do that. So I finally ended up just telling them I would record the entire lecture and just post it on the website for them. And that recording and putting that together took like 4.5 hours.
Wow.
And then there's the grading. There's the grading. Like what we usually do in ensembles is like immediate assessment, right? But now
Right.
all these students are recording stuff and sending it to me, and I'm, leaving this much commentary next to their submission instead of like just saying, hey, you should put on a different read because that's pretty stuffy or whatever the thing might be.
Yeah, that's something you could just say in the moment, with someone. And when you're grading remotely after the fact, you have to be so careful how you put it and you type. I don't type fast, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's,
It's really amazing. The also the grade, like you say, the grading. So I'm still old school in that I use a lot of paper assignments for my classes. Hand out the paper, they fill it out, they hand it back, and then I have my 3 things that I need for grading on the weekend, which is their stack of papers, a red pen, and at least 1 glass of scotch. Right?
yeah.
How we roll. And and now I my first attempt was I just scanned the paper and I sent it to all of my students thinking they can just finish it and scan it and send it back to me. And I'll just mark it up with tools. Well, 1/3 of the class doesn't have a printer. So they couldn't print out the paper. So then they couldn't, and trying to use an Adobe like draw tool to draw notes on a staff, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I had to, every single assignment I've had to completely redo to be, an online question and answer. It's just been, yeah, it's an amazing amount of work.
And what I don't know about you guys, but at CU, they went to online schooling on the 13th. I don't remember, but we basically had till Monday. We had on Friday, they said you need to be up and running on Monday. And I was just like, what?
Right.
I
Right.
got to do this.
It was insane, wasn't it?
It was,
It was, yeah. And that's when I tried my, my first techniques of thinking I could just make this work with a scanner and so that, and that's, so I basically just failed at all of the assignments for several days until I figured, oh, now it's break. I can spend a good solid 25 hours, putting, or 30, putting all of this stuff online. It's been really amazing.
well, we're talking a long time about this, but it's been, I'm sure other teachers will relate, but do you think we should let Drew play a little bit?
Do you want to play a little bit? Do you have anything?
Oh my God. I hadn't even thought about that.
I should have asked you beforehand, but play a chorus or two on something or multiple things.
Oh my God, I would love to do that. Like, do you want to, are we playing together? Or am I just playing?
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work unless we trade. We could trade 4s, but there'd have to be like I was telling somebody, you could do 3 measures and then land on beat 1 of the 4th measure, and then the next person could start the next measure. You could do that.
Yeah.
We'll just listen to you, man.
We tried this thing called Jam Kazam, and with Jerry Weiss and I, and it was off just enough to make it not happening.
Right.
Yeah.
I wondered.
This was in 15/16, the other was in 4/4, and
That's awesome.
and
Well,
that happens to me sometimes anyway. But
yeah, I mean that happens on the gig, but then that's that. You just laugh it off. But it's like it is like the early days of cell phones. Remember, you would say, like, you would ask your question, and then there would be like this, like 30-second, or half a second pause, and then the person would respond, and I used to get so annoyed by that because I would think they were distracted, but it was just the cell phone. But this, I'll tell you something. What I was thinking of is, if you had money to invest, whoever comes up with the software that's going to make like lesson conferencing work is those people are going to make a ton of money.
Yeah. It's
There's
really great minds are on it, and they just can't conquer the latency problem.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
Because sound travels.
I was talking to, we just had internet put into the Muse, so we'll have Wi-Fi and we'll be able to stream. We're actually going to start our first stream concert this Saturday.
Awesome.
So I was talking to the technician there, and he's like, we're at our capacity. I was making jokes like, yeah, the tubes are full, but it's kind of like that. Everybody's on, and they weren't built for this many people being online at once, so it just slows everything down. So
right.
It's really
tubes are
happening. So we'll play a tune, man, and we'll
sounds good. It'll take me a second. I got to get my bass out.
Okay.
All right.
We'll tell some jokes.
Now we'll talk about like what people can do. You go ahead.
Yeah.
So people can so all these musicians are like without income. Some of them are without all of their income. Some of them have lost 50 or more % of their income. A lot of people who teach and play. And so if you want to help out, there's a couple ways. You can do Venmo at Muse Performance Space. You could go to our website, museperformancespace.com, and just click the donate button. And there's also a musicians relief fund. We've been cooperating with Dazzle quite a bit on all, and they've set up an online stage, which Drew played on recently, and you can donate right to the musicians Venmo on the virtual stage at Dazzle. So go to the Dazzle website, and that's another way you can help musicians out.
Also, Muse is going to start a streaming concert series starting this Saturday. We'll have Expeditions and guest artist Peter Olstad on trumpet. We have Art Landy coming up and Drew Heller, the Amelie Quartet.
That's gypsy jazz.
Yeah, so we'll have a schedule posted on various social media soon. Drew, do those have a mic in them so it can pick it up?
What's that?
Yeah, that
we're good. We're good. I just
use my earbuds here, and they end up making the sound pretty good. So I'll do that. Let's see.
Can you back up a little so we can see your smiley face?
Here we go. All right.
You good?
Yeah. And you can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Did I hear you talking about the Dazzle project?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did put that up there that you played on the online stage.
Yeah, I definitely did. I've got 2 cuts up there that are really fun. And thank God for my wife, for Kindle, which you guys know. Just really randomly. Pete, remember when Kindle and I showed up at your surprise birthday party for your 40th?
That was so long ago, Drew. I think, man. Yeah, of course.
That was such a. Oh, I was just thinking about that this morning, about how we all showed up at your house and hid, and you came along. Claire, that was.
Jeez, man.
So cool.
I on your video, changing instruments. And that's hilarious.
Yeah, well, yeah. So thank God for Kindle, because she just kept after me. She said, just do something. I don't know. I don't know what to play. I'm such a sideman. I don't have any like lead stuff to. She said, I will take Oscar. We will go on a 45-minute walk. When we come back, you will have a video done. It's like, all right.
Beautiful.
So thank goodness we've got people like that in our life, huh?
Right on.
And I do a piano and guitar duo of My Romance on there, and then I play Yardbird Suite on the bass. So I'll play that for you right now.
Okay, cool.
Sweet.
I'll spare you the walking, because with the walking you have to imagine there's someone else playing. But this is good timing too, because I usually tune my bass around the 3rd or 4th of every month.
Hey, Drew.
Uh-huh.
Can you step back about a foot so we can get, there you go.
So we can see your smiling face.
Thanks, man.
All
All
right.
right. And sound okay? All right.
Yeah. You have such a nice sound.
Oh, thanks so much. You know, you guys remember Dwight Killian?
Oh,
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he was. I've had 3 bass teachers in my life: Dwight Killian, Cecil McBee, and Dave Holland.
wow, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I was like, holy cow. Just picked 3 guys that figured they knew a little bit about bass.
That's
But
because Dwight has that beautiful sound too, that really focused, clear sound. That's what I like. But it's still big. It's still rich.
Dwight, right, and the very like 5 minutes into the first lesson, he just started talking about sound. And he would it just I would be playing and he would stop and just say, "Oh, your notes are good, but you're not selling me with the sound." And I mean, we just worked and worked on sound. And then 5 minutes into my first lesson with Cecil, same thing. He said, "What are you thinking about in terms of sound?"
It's great.
Drew, oh,
Thanks for saying that, because I've worked on that more than anything else, I think.
is it how you pull the string away from? Is it, is that where you're getting that tone? Is like you're pulling it out of the bass? Is that kind of the concept?
Yeah, primarily, and also what I found is it's a balance between. It's kind of like embouchure and airflow
Mm-hmm.
on a horn. It's a balance between the attack with the right hand and the pressure that you're holding the string, because that has everything to do with clarity and with growl. And man, that's what took me like a year to finally feel comfortable with, was just understanding a huge amount of the tone comes from what's happening in the left hand.
And that's where you get that flow too. Like you have a nice fluid technique, which is, yeah, I mean, it's so cool because I don't often get to hear you just play by yourself.
Right.
You can hear everything. It's really cool.
Drew,
Oh man.
Drew, how did you get started playing music? Like, was it a band director or a single individual, or was it the music going on in the house, or what kind of got you going?
Man, yeah, that's a cool question. I had no idea that I had any music aptitude at all. There were like summer camps where part of it was playing music and it was always easy. But in sixth grade, I went to a brand new school and I was uncomfortable and unhappy. And my mom said, "Is there anything that would make you look forward to going to school?" And I said, I hear that they're gonna start a band program and maybe that, because I was terrible at sports, like horrible. And when you go to a new school, if you're good at sports, you're an immediate star, you're fine.
Yeah.
But if you're not good at anything, especially not at sports, so I couldn't figure my thing. And so, it's just the typical thing that kids do. You go to the one night where you look at every single instrument and pick one. And we picked trumpet, and within 6 months I was done. Life path accepted,
Oh, wow.
In fact, I ran into something the other day because they're going through some old boxes of stuff, and it was from me being a paper boy. They used to do a little profile in the Rocky Mountain News if you were a paper carrier. And it's like, what do you want to do? I was 13 years old, and I said, oh, I want to be a professional jazz musician and a teacher, and a music teacher.
No
Really?
kidding.
Yeah, and that was probably less than 1 year into playing.
Were you playing trumpet at that time?
Yeah.
How long did you continue on trumpet? Through high school, or?
All the way till I was about 20 years old.
Oh,
And I loved trumpet. I thought that was going to be my entire life. But honestly, I was not a great trumpet player. And I had some bad habits right away. So I hit that, you guys know that wall that a brass player will hit. And I couldn't figure it out. And then I was working in a music store. And I noticed that the trumpet players were always practicing and the piano players were always gigging. So I put the trumpet in the case and just started learning piano.
really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then came bass and guitar after that, or?
Guitar had been going all along.
Okay.
I was a guitar fanatic probably since junior high or something. But yeah, piano was then the main thing, and that's how I met you guys, playing with the Neophonic big band and playing piano in that. And then I had always played bass, electric bass, along with my piano students. One day, I just, for the hell of it, I sat in and played electric bass with a couple guys that were playing at a restaurant down the street from where my teaching studio was. And it was Rich Charlucci and Mitch Chamara. And they said, go get your electric bass, come back and play with us. So I played with them. And at the end of the gig, Rich sat me down and he said, that's your instrument. Bass is your instrument. I don't know what you've been doing with all these other ones. And so I just followed his advice. And
that's really cool, man.
Especially since that's the instrument that will most likely make you a living if you want to do it just playing.
Right.
Do you feel that that's the one that's like right here, or do you feel like affinity with a lot of the things that you play?
I do. There's in each instrument that I can't get in the other.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me really love that instrument. It must be that way with people that have 2 or 3 kids. There's just that one thing that you love about each one that's not present in the other, and it makes it special.
Yeah.
But bass is unequivocally, I get a call for bass and I'm always like, oh, this is going to be fun. This is
nice.
And there's nothing like standing next to this instrument and just being enveloped in that sound.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, Claire, that had to be the case with you too, because like you spent your whole life with horns and the sound goes out, but when you all of a sudden your life became about playing drums, suddenly you're like inside this whole tonal spectrum, like sitting in it.
I mean, there's different things about each, like there's something really organic about moving air and getting that sound that I miss. And unlike you were saying, like as a woodwind player, there were reasons I loved to play clarinet and bass clarinet and bari and alto and whatever it was. There was, I had a lot of different aspects of woodwind playing. What I like about playing drums, two things. One is that connection with the bass player. That's awesome, depending on the bass player. And also, also that control over the trajectory of the tune that you have is tremendous. It's cool.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
You know that really don't play drums, but I understand what you're talking about, that trajectory. You know, the fact that, yeah, some nights I would be playing at the Peck, and you know, you have your tricks on bass or drums that you could do to just fire up the tune. And I would just look around and I think, yeah, it's time for that. And I would just kick that turbo in and just watch the place erupt. And I'd be like, oh my God, I just did that with my instrument.
Just like tell the band, we're about to get real soft.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
Definitely the director, leader.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing.
Drew, do you have any projects that are in the works that maybe got put on hold, you know, during the COVID and then are going to emerge again? Or anything, you know, recordings or
Oh yeah,
steady
nothing.
that you're looking for?
Well, there wasn't really any project that was like actually in the works, because this is March. So as both of you guys know, you're just at that point, you're just a teacher. Like it's you're just like trying to grit it through those last 2 months of the spring semester
Yeah.
and just survive, you know. However, in the back of my mind, I do have one thing I'd like to do next, because you know, both of you guys have played on projects I've done before, and I've been so grateful to have you guys on there. Like Claire, when you played bass clarinet and Barry on my big band concert,
That was so cool.
it was so much fun, and you sounded killer too, by the way. And it just is so much fun. But I really, when I was a kid, I used to watch on Channel 6. They had the Great Guitars, which was Herb Ellis and Charlie Bird, and yeah, I always blank on his name. It'll hit me in a second. And then bass and drums. And it was like they did all these great standards written out for the 3 guitars and rhythm section. And I teach a class like that at college. I want to put an album together that's 3 or 4 guitars and rhythm section, and just some really great Barney Kessel. Barney Kessel's.
Oh yeah.
And I do want to play guitar on that, because I've never recorded. I don't think I'm on any CDs playing guitar, so I'd like to do that.
I think you should do an acapella thing with you playing all the guitar parts, the bass part, the piano part, and the drums.
And they would be like, wow, listen to that band. Why couldn't they afford a good drummer?
Who's the drummer?
Who's the drummer? You know, that would really work if it weren't for that. Who is it? Can you give me the CD? Let me look. Oh.
Up with funny names, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I've been producing these play along with local, and you're going to be on the next one, by the way. So Brad Good's going to do one with all him.
Oh.
So he's going to do all the parts, including playing some trumpet, and that's going to be funny. Yeah, it's going to be.
That'll be really cool to listen to.
Tell him move the mic away when you're playing drums, man.
Yeah, he's a loud drummer. Well, Drew, do you have any words of wisdom, encouragement, anything you want to leave the listeners with?
Just in terms of these times right now, or
Anything, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, this is just one thing that's helped me out a bunch, which is we get into our this is a really cool project you can just do for fun. We get into our streaming services and are just turning on Spotify and letting it choose tunes for us. What I've been doing is I've been going over to my giant shelf of CDs, and I put my hand over my eyes and I just pick something and I listen to that CD, one a day.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's so much fun because I chose every CD for a reason, and it was a hard choice because I didn't have a lot of money when I was buying CDs. What musician has a ton of money to buy CDs?
Right.
So when coming up. Remember, we would go after the Neophonic. We would go over to Tower Records. You know, it paid the door. So once a month, we would get like $12. You know,
A little envelope, right?
we'd all go over to Tower Records and we would like buy a CD, and sometimes I would spend an hour looking for a great CD, and I don't listen to them anymore. So I've been doing that lately, even as busy as I am and as crazy as it is. And even sometimes Oscar just tells me, I don't want to hear that, you know.
Oh,
I'm trying to do a CD a day.
That's cool. I've been doing that with records. I just chose this one. What do I got?
woo, that's a
That's a
good
pretty
one.
good one.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, I love that. I'm gonna do that. It's right over there. I see right where it is
Oh,
on my CD.
All right,
cool.
we'll listen to it in your honor.
So cool.
Yeah. It's great talking with you, man. And we'll get this posted in a few days.
Cool. I really appreciate you asking me to be part of this. It's just so good. I've known you guys for so long. I've known you longer than almost anyone else in the business, and so it's such a pleasure to just talk to you today.
Yeah, we look forward to playing with you at some point.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
These interviews are gonna make you famous too. So just
Be
warn 'em,
ready.
Be ready.
I'm ready. I'm actually like sending some of my clothes out to the cleaners now.
Okay, man. Take care. I'm gonna end the recording now.
Bye.